Bryan City Council meeting. Would you please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 1 of the agenda is approve the minutes of the October 4th Bryan City Council meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes. Item number 2 is hearing public concerns. Please step to the podium, state your name, and we ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Steve Cox, Huntington Drive. Last session I was here and I asked the question of what was the thinking behind repaving the parking lot on Walnut Street and the decision to use the tar and gravel toss on Huntington Drive and the Eastland Estates. I did not get an answer. I would appreciate an answer at the end of my time. The second thing is it possible to put up on the screen the complex?
I think I still have it. It looks like it was taken off here. I don't have it on this side. So the answer is no, I apologize.
Well, since I'm on a clock, let me start. From what I understood at what was said at the meeting, and you've approved the minutes thereof, the idea is to get a right-of-way for a street to join Huntington Drive and the Courts Complex from the south. Now, my understanding is, and from what I can see, there are no vacant lots anywhere except the second down on the east side from 34. And that wouldn't do a whole heck of a lot of good since the exit is right there. Whose property are they going to go through to get in to make it a two-way street? The fact that they would have to put in a temporary road, you'd have to get the easements, et cetera. And then they're talking about at least the length of time that makes it mandatory to have two-way traffic in and out. What the post office is going to do, what the service people, UPX, whatever, are going to do during that period, I don't know. But why is it that the intention is to go through a farmer's field and take out produce that it would produce, go through somebody's property to make the connection? Whereas if you, and this is where I wish you had the chart up, if you start on the west side of Huntington Drive, right at 34, and you go down it, there's the bend to South Court, the island, back up to Center Court, the island, back up to North Court, the island, back up, and then you exit onto 34. At all times, you would have one lane open if it was a chip and seal process, because of the fact that they actually roll the tar and gravel and the mix in and solidify the surface, so that once the new surface is put down, it can be driven on. In the meantime, while it's going down one side of the street, you can drive on the other. So why plan on potentially having to take out trees and bushes, et cetera. This, I hate to say it, but it sounds like a Rube Goldberg design. Why are you doing things that you don't need to do to get the thing done in the first place? And who's going to get that lucky job of telling the individual or individuals whose property you're going to consume with a road that that's happening? This, before it's committed to, it needs to be rethought.
I think Mr. Whelan, our engineer, is ready to answer your questions.
Okay.
Okay, so I wasn't here last month's meeting, I apologize, and there was no video, so I couldn't watch it, but I looked through the minutes. So there's no plan right now to take new right-of-way and go through a farmer's field. The mayor had asked me, what would it take to put curb and gutter in? And to put curb and gutter in and tear everything out and do a full depth removal, yes, we would need to put stone roads in. And we would need to have an access, because when we tear out the first block, in front of the first 10 homes, how are you going to get to your house?
No,
So,
understood.
Right. So there's no, I don't have a plan right now of next year, we're going to completely do this. I think I quoted 1.75 million to redo everything. Andy, my zoning administrator, got up and mentioned possibly we could repave if it gets to that. And if we just have to repave, that's just what you said. There's just temporary closures. So I think maybe there was some confusion last meeting of, what work needs to be done. Okay. If we're doing the big project, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to every neighbor and get an easement in their front yard to get stone accesses back and get a stone access through the adjacent field or somewhere, for police, fire. But that's not just to repave a road, if we are able to repave it, like we talked before the meeting about getting some core samples. So, yeah, I think there might have been some confusion. There's no plan to do
One of
that.
the reasons that I'm asking the question
Right.
now.
Right, yeah, but call me during the day sometime, we'll talk about it, if you want to go a little more. But, yeah, there's no plan, I think you guys are aware of that, there is no plan to
Right.
completely redo that. I think the mayor just said, the email that I had sent her and Andy was, if we do this project, it's not a standard subdivision that there's multiple entrances to. When that first 300 foot of the road is closed, how are they going to get to their homes in the back? When it's closed for 2 months or a month at least, to get everything tore out, get the dirt tore out, get the stone put in, get the curbing put in, get extra stone, the underdrain, the sewer work. It's a huge undertaking to completely redo a sole access subdivision, and we talked about that, you understand that. So the only reason we would need an easement through somebody else's property to get through a field is if we do that. But there's no plans of that as of right now.
I think I can speak for some of the people on Sanitary. Nobody's really had a problem with the chip and seal.
Sounds like we're in agreement then.
Yeah,
Okay.
again,
Hey, Bryan.
the Eskim's razor of the simple solution.
Right, yeah, which there is, but I was asked what it would cost to redo the whole development, like with curb and gutter and sidewalks and everything. I was asked for that price, and then I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah,
He also asked about the repaving of the parking lot out by Seasons. Can you explain how that was?
that was actually intended to be done 3 years ago, and that was actually an asphalt parking lot that already had asphalt underneath it.
Right.
And we basically just milled a little bit and repaved it. But that was the year that COVID struck, our budget just stopped. We stopped doing everything, so it was actually budgeted for that particular year. But that's a slightly different case because that already had the stone and the asphalt under it. We just overlaid it. We put a curb island in to meet our new planning and zoning criteria, but that was just a simple overlay because it was already asphalt to begin with.
Right.
So-
That I didn't know of, and that's why I asked the question.
But yeah, call me if you have any questions.
And
Okay.
so
thank
can I
you.
have some clarification too? Because I
Sure.
know, Mr. Cox has asked for chip and seal, but you have not done the core samples to see if that's even an option.
No, we did it.
So you don't know.
We talked about that.
Chip seal is not, we're trying to get away from that.
Right.
Because city streets, 99% of the people don't like having stone roads
Right.
in the city.
Right.
So we're looking to pave it with asphalt, not chip seal.
Okay?
I think, Mr.
You know,
Cox,
I guess-
if you give them time, they'll get it figured out. All right? It's just, right now, they're trying to do things that are going to keep your road in working order, so you don't get potholes and everything else in them. But it all takes time and money.
No, and if you recall, I mentioned that I understood that money was a determining factor.
Yes.
And I wasn't demanding anything immediately, and I'd
Yeah.
be more than willing to wait my turn.
Yep.
So long as I was treated equally.
Yeah.
And that's as fair as I can get.
I think we all feel
Yep.
that way.
Yep.
So, okay.
So, another dumb question if I could, is there an actual treasurer's report to the point where we have this much money, we've spent that much money, we need this much for other things?
Yes, there are financial statements that the council reviews each month.
Okay, but I thought I was paying attention, but I didn't hear that from the treasurer.
Well, it's all presented to them. It's an entire packet that they are given.
Okay, I saw those handed out.
All of it's attached with it. So they've had time to review it, and it comes in their packet so they can review it prior to the meeting. And then we'll go through budgets. Next month, actually, everybody will be going through budgets, and then they'll approve those, hopefully by the last meeting in December.
Okay. But considering that public funds from public people, as far as the average run-of-the-mill citizen in Bryan, might not the synopsis be given during the meetings here? So that if they want to know something about the finances, you can give them the latest?
Sure, they're available. Our audits are published on the Auditor of State's website. So our audits are published after we go through, it's probably about a 4 to 6 month audit with the Auditor of State's office. And then they're published out there for anyone to peruse any of our financial highlights of the city. And also, the mayor gives a presentation at the end of the year that goes through all synopsis as far as the major projects that we've done in the year, and usually has some upcoming projects, which Bryan will also note at that point in time for capital spending.
I am assuming, and I may be wrong with this, but that's internet information.
This is now at
is it not?
15 minutes, not 5.
No, because I mean, we bring it in here, the mayor does for display, usually on the big board, the big screen, like what you saw with your map. And Bryan comes in and does a verbal and says what his projects will likely be in the upcoming year. Always subject to change, just in case the pricing, like this year with the major price increases, he may or may not have been able to do a project, or we may have gotten grant funds from another project, so we swung the money that direction, which they're allowed to do during the year.
Okay,
All right, thank you, Lori. Thank you, Mr. Cox.
thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yep. Item number 3 is Clerk Treasurer's Report.
The council's been presented with the clerk's treasurer's report for the month ending September 30th, 2022.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes. Item number 4 is an ordinance. Lori, will you please number and read?
Ordinance number 47, 2022, an ordinance providing for annual appropriations for the city of Bryan for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency. This is an appropriation request for the following: $4,000 for operating supplies for the Bryan Parks and Recreation Department as they received a donation. $165,650 for the 0.5% income tax fund. This is so we can do a transfer to the capital improvement fund to follow for an upcoming project. And an appropriation of $26,000 for the Bryan Fire Department escrow account, as we've received escrow and they've now got to release that. Total amount of transfer requested, $195,650.
I'll make a motion to suspend.
Second.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Rick,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes. Item number 5 is an ordinance. Lori, would you please number and read?
Ordinance number 48, 2022. An ordinance providing for the transfer of funds for the city of Bryan for the month ending October 31st, 2022. This is a transfer request from the 1% income tax fund to the 101 general fund for general spending purposes of $500,000. A transfer request from the 1% income tax fund to the street department fund for $100,000 for general spending purposes, and a transfer of $165,650 from the 0.5% income tax fund to the 401 capital improvement fund for an upcoming project. Total amount of transfer requested, $765,650.
I'll move to suspend.
I'll second.
Judy?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes. Item number 6 is an ordinance. Lori, would you please number and read?
Ordinance number 49, 2022. An ordinance providing for annual appropriations for the city of Bryan for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency. This is an appropriation request for $165,650 for the 401 Capital Improvement Fund Western Bryan Sanitary Sewer Project in the amount of $165,650. We did have $300,000 already in the budget, but the project came in over, so we are asking for a transfer request and then the appropriate appropriation.
And if I can just speak for a minute here, like she had said earlier, everything is going up, and our budget was a little short last year, or this year, excuse me. So as you'll see in the next item, we are going to ask you to award a bid, but what I'm asking for here is for you to appropriate me $165,650. And again, as you saw through the multiple steps, it originally came from the 0.5% income tax. And I just need to stress how important this 0.5% income tax is for the city of Bryan without saying much more. Without it, we wouldn't have the funds to do projects like this. And as you'll see in the next item, half of that project will be coming back to us that I received an Ohio Public Works grant for. So without the 0.5% income tax to provide funds to make leverage funds to get grants, we would struggle long-term, and council would have interesting financing to try and do, whether they borrow money or do different things, assess properties. But again, I just wanted to quickly stress the importance of the 0.5% income tax, that this is where that money came from.
And would you say sewer applies to pretty much everyone?
I would say, yeah. Yeah, streets, sewers, capital improvements, so.
Just thought I'd ask. Thanks.
Okay, I'll move to suspend.
I'll second.
Rick?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
I move to approve.
Second.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes. Item number 6 is an ordinance. Lori, would you please number and read?
Ordinance number 50, 2022. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with S&S Directional Boring LTD for the project known as Western Bryan Sanitary Sewer Replacement.
So if we're not tearing up the west side of Bryan, we're going to do it a little bit more. As you're aware, we've got a project going right now. It was a $2.183 million sanitary sewer replacement project that we did receive $2.1 million in grant funds for. When we applied, we knew what the dollar figure was, so we had to pull a portion of that project out. But we had already applied for Ohio Public Works monies for this particular portion, so it's working out quite well for us on this. So this project here is to finish off the last areas in the western town has clay, vitrified, et cetera, sewers in there. And with that, we will get 50% of the actual project cost refunded back to us through Ohio Public Works, through the grants that we applied for.
Which is about how much?
Well, half of 465, so originally it was a $550,000 estimate, so we could get up to 275 back, but it's 50% of the project. So what's that be, 233,000 we'll get back.
So how is this related to the 0.5%?
Well, that's where the money's coming from. to fund
Once
the
again,
project.
just thought I'd ask.
Okay, so with that, I would request you suspend the rules and authorize me to.
I'll move to suspend.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Rick?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Thanks for your consideration of both of those.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, so, item number 8, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is an ordinance, lawyers, please number read.
Ordinance number 51, 2022, an ordinance to authorize the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding agreement, MOU, with the Bryan City Schools to provide security for Bryan City Schools.
Council, the agreement before you has a few minor changes. One, we changed the organizational structure just a little bit so that the police department and police chief had a little more structure and decision on when our full-time officer was in the school, based on what our scheduling needs were throughout the years in the department, and also actually have this now on an auto renewal versus every year or every 3 years. We still do meet with the school and the resource officers as far as administration goes. I personally think the program is going exceptionally well. I believe Superintendent Reary believes the same. The Board of Education will be reviewing this document this evening as well. And I would like to thank Chief Ruskey and Attorney Fisher for working on this document and collaborating with the school to get this program renewed. With that being said, I would ask to be allowed to enter into this agreement, which would require you to pass that ordinance.
Is it possible, and it's okay to say no, you know that from me. Is it possible whenever there's like, because the first thing when I read through these 16, 17 pages was, I can't remember what we agreed to last time. I don't think I have a copy of it. And that was one of my questions that you answered right off the bat, which is very helpful, Mayor. Is there really aren't significant changes or just a couple and you point those out? Is it possible when it's sent in the packet to have like lawyers do, Rhonda, where it's like red, it's in red, like here are the changes, so it kind of like stands out, or is that?
That's a question for Rhonda. To be honest, I had to take the old contract and try to figure.
Is that possible? That would be helpful, because I can't, it's probably been a couple of years since I've read that. I can't recall the nuances, so, but I do appreciate the summary. There's not any significant, and I also support 100%. It appears to me to be extremely helpful as a community collaboration. So that's saying, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions from council?
Move to suspend.
I'll second.
Rick?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
I'll second.
John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 9 is a ordinance. Lawyers, please number read.
Ordinance number 52, 2022, an ordinance to authorize the Bryan Police Department to apply for a local community grant from Walmart for for police department equipment.
Good evening, council.
Evening.
Yes, Walmart has a local community grants that range in a minimum of $250 to $5,000. It runs throughout the year, and with this, we'd be looking to get some additional canine equipment and possibly some office equipment as well.
I'll move to suspend.
I'll second that.
Judy?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Mary?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Item number 10 is a building permit.
We just have one tonight, Midwest Community Federal Credit Union. They are remodeling the former PNC Bank on North Main Street. $657,000 worth of an investment they're putting into that structure. I don't have an opening date or anything like that on here, but it will be a credit union. So I would ask you to approve it.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Judy?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, let's go around the room. Lori,
Thank you.
Brian. Chief? Chief Poole?
Just want to recognize one of our firefighters, volunteer firefighters, that we had his official retirement this weekend after serving almost 22 years, Rodney Carlisle. We have invited him back to help us as he can, but as a formal volunteer, he has retired. Just want to recognize him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben?
Good evening.
Meeting.
Quick things. First of all, the $4,000 donation that you accepted this evening for the Parks and Recreation Department was from Bryan Municipal Utilities to continue to support our tree replacement program. So I can't thank Nate and his staff, Jim and their board enough for their continued support of our tree program here within the city and our Tree City efforts that we go through every year. So I want to make sure you guys know that, and we greatly appreciate that donation from them. Second of all, last meeting before Halloween, just a reminder, we'll do our Halloween party out at the ice rink from 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, October 29th. Fourth grade and younger are invited to that. And then also that evening, the trick-or-treat around the city will be from 5 to 6:30. So if you have any questions, please feel free to call the Parks Department. We'll help you any way we can.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tyson? Mr. Salisbury? Rhonda? Mayor?
I would also like to thank the BPA and BMU for their help with the trees. Definitely a benefit for the community and our Tree City Awards that we get annually, so thank you again. Also like to remind the public, during trick or treat, we see a lot of people in cars with a lot of kids as pedestrians, so please, if you can park your car in trick or treat, that's better for the community, but please be aware the kids will be out that evening, and we just want to make sure everyone stays safe.
Thank you. Rick?
I'd like to, first of all, thank Mr. Cox for coming out and addressing council. As I've said in the past, that's how we know what are the concerns of the people, or one of the ways, and I appreciate you coming out. I'd like to thank Walmart for their donation, and also Bryan Municipal Utilities for their donation and help with the trees. Appreciate Midwest Community and their investment in our community and developing that empty building that was there, and I'm looking forward to seeing that back open and having business. And I would like to congratulate, had the Fireman's Banquet this last weekend, and congratulate those people receiving awards, and especially congratulate and thank Rodney Carlisle for his service for 21 years with the fire department. Certainly appreciate it. Other than that, be safe and stay warm.
Judy?
I'm going to ditto everything he said rather than go over it again. And I do want to just add, I want to say a special thank you to our firemen. I think it's one of those things, we don't think about them until we need them. So thank you very much for all that you do for this city and just for being there and giving us a sense of safety. I also would like to say I saw the water tower the other day, and it's really looking good. If you haven't seen it, you need to drive down past there. This is going to be cool. And also want to say, please be safe, be careful on trick-or-treat night. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. John?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Midwest Federal Credit Union, really appreciate the investment in Bryan. Also BMU for their donation of the tree, for tree replacement, especially when they grow. They probably create more problems for them. But certainly appreciate their donation in that regard. Also, as it relates to the annual fireman's banquet, I certainly appreciated that, and all the firefighters, and a number of them that have gone to firefighter 2 and got a lot of certificates, et cetera. And also to Rodney for his efforts and willingness to want to come back and continue to help. And of course, I'd be amiss if I didn't say thank you to the fire department for feeding myself and my wife. Thank you.
Mary?
I'm going to repeat everything that they all said. Thank Mr. Cox for reporting on to council. I also thank Walmart for the grant opportunity. Thank Midwest for investing in our community. And the BPA and BMU for their donation. And also thank Rodney. Other than that, I'm good.
Okay, well, I have nothing else to add. So I appreciate everybody's time. Making a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
Rick?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.